Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to talk about the best way to build wealth while you're in the military. Now, a lot of things I'm going to talk about today will have the best results starting them out earlier on in your career, even beginning in boot camp mainly. But these are all things that you can start anytime in your career that could potentially help you build some wealth while you're in the military, and some things that you may not have even thought of or that the Navy doesn't really teach you about that you have offered to you. First thing is first. This is something that I did not begin when I was in boot camp, but I wish I could go back in time and start. So I highly recommend it, especially if you're young, coming right out of high school into the military. This is something that you want to do, which is during your time in boot camp, there's going to be a point in time where you sit down and set up your TSP, which is your tuition, I'm sorry, not your tuition, your thrift savings plan. And it's essentially your 401k while you're in the military. So during this time in boot camp, they're going to ask you how much percentage of your base pay do you want to contribute to your TSP every month. Again, this is something that I opted out of when I was in boot camp, which I wish I didn't. Which I would recommend is go ahead and put 10% of your base pay every month into your TSP. If you start it right when you get in boot camp, it's money that you're not even going to know that you have missing because you're not seeing any of your paychecks yet. If you look at many, budget and financial people, they always recommend putting 10% of your monthly income into savings. So if it's something that you start doing and opt into before you even start getting a paycheck, again, it's going to be money that you don't even notice is gone because you've never seen it in the first place. There's all kinds of metrics and things out there that will show you how much you have, in 30, 40, 50 years. If you do put 10% into your TSP, and that's things that you can Google, and I'm not really going to get into in this video, but I do highly recommending putting 10% into your TSP starting out in boot camp because it will just better you off in the future. Next, when you are in A school, do not buy crap you do not need. For many people in A school, your barracks room is going to be a lot bigger than the one you'll have once you get to the fleet. A lot of the times, if barracks aren't available on the base that your ship is at, you may even have to live on the ship for a while. So the less stuff you have will be the less stuff you have to worry about when you have to live on a ship. I know a lot of guys on my ship who bought all this stuff when they were in A school. Now that they're on the ship, half that stuff sitting in the back seat of their car possibly going to get stolen because they have nowhere to put it because they're living on the ship. Again, also, it's if you buy all these fancy computers and video game systems and stuff like that while you're in A school, once you get to a ship, you're not really going to have a lot of time to use it anyways. So it's going to be a big waste of money, and it's just going to be sitting collecting dust while you're on sea duty for most of the time. And again, that's all money that you could be saving and not spending on stuff that you are not going to really need or on stuff that you're not going to be able to use once you get to the fleet. So be very smart with your money while you're in A school. And this kind of ties into something else that we're going to talk about next. For the love of God, unless you are coming in the military at an older age where you have established credit and things like that, if you are freshly out of high school or in your young 20s, please do not buy a new car when you are in A school or even in your first couple years of the Navy. Again, similar to buying things while you're in A school, you're not going to be using your car a lot once you get to the fleet because you're going to be underway a lot of the time. You're going to have duty days where you have to be on the ship for 24 hours. So buying a new car, as nice as it is, right? You finally got some money in your pocket. You're on your own. You're out of your parents' house. I'm going to treat myself to a new car. If you don't have established credit, your interest rate is going to be outrageous, through the roof. And a lot of these car dealerships, especially the ones near military bases, where you're most likely going to be buying this car from, knows the situation that you're in better than you may know. So they're going to gouge you with high interest rates. They're going to get the most money out of you as they possibly can because they know that you're young and vulnerable. So whatever you do, I would say don't spend more than $10,000 on a car, and that's even kind of high. You just need a beater that's going to get you from your barracks to the ship, around town to Walmart, grocery store, things like that to buy some food. Please do not buy a crazy expensive new car because you do not need it. Wait until you re-enlist. Wait until you make some rank. Wait until you're able to save up some money to put down a big down payment on a new vehicle. But please do not buy a new vehicle at least after their first 2 years in the Navy. Another big issue I see in A school are people getting married very young. Again, there's many different variables to this, right? High school sweethearts, religious things, many different variables to this. But if you are going to get married, please do it very smartly. Please do it to a girl or guy that you've known for a very long time. I see this time and time and time over again in the fleet of people marrying someone that they met 2 months ago. They don't even know who the person is. This person may have a ton of debt that you don't even know about, right? And once you get married, their debt becomes your debt. Once you get married, it causes you to have more bills. You have to have a house out in town. You have gas bill, power bill, possibly a second car, a second mouth to feed, right? As nice as it is to get out of the barracks, it's not worth the headache that will come if it is not the right person that you should marry. So again, I always tell my junior guys, even if you're dating someone, even if you think they're the one, you know, this is the person you're going to marry, wait until you do a deployment. Spend 6 months away from this person. Come back, see how the relationship is, because being in the military, there's a lot of different things that you have to deal with as far as relationship-wise that many people out in the public don't have to deal with. There's a lot of different strenuous situations that your relationship gets put through being in the military. So again, test it out. Don't marry the person after a month or two of knowing them. That's a huge mistake, and I've seen very, very, very bad things happen to people that don't really deserve it, but because they put themselves in these situations, it happens to them. And lastly, buy a house as soon as you're able to make a smart purchase on a house. So what does that mean? Again, wait a couple years. Wait till you make E5 when you're able to get BAH as a single sailor, right? If you're married, obviously you get BAH regardless. But if you're following these other rules I went through, wait till you get E5 where you're entitled BAH regardless. You also have some money stacked up to put down a good down payment on a house. Even though you don't need to with the VA loan, it's still always a good thing to put down some money to lower your monthly payments on your mortgage. And another really good opportunity that we have in the military is moving so often. And what that allows us to do is it's very easy for us to get a loan with the VA loan. So once you establish, yourself financially, buy a house. This should be around the time, a year or two before you transfer to your next station if you decide to stay in. And what that allows you to do is buy a house on the VA loan. You put down some money so your payment's not that high. You're going to get PCS somewhere else, and you still own this house now where you used to be stationed at. The fact that that house is near a military base, it's very easy to rent out. So you move, you rent out your house that you just lived in, you PCS to your next duty station, and you kind of redo the process over and over again. There's a bunch of people I know in the military that own a house, 4, 5, 6 houses, and they've bought a house at every place they've been stationed at, and then they rent it out. What that does over time is it builds up your portfolio. You have a great real estate portfolio, right? Ideally, these houses gain value over time, and it's something that you can look back in 20, 30 years and have a bunch of property that you can either continue to rent out and have kind of a passive income, or houses that you can finally flop because they've gained $100,000 in equity or potentially more. That's an opportunity that we have in the military that we should take advantage of. That not a lot of people have, right? Most people get out of college, get a good job in an area, and they stay there for the rest of their lives. We have the opportunity to move around, so it's something that we should take advantage of, but make sure you do it correctly. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed all these tips. Again, these are tips that I've seen throughout the fleet, kind of learning from other people's mistakes, and also things I wish I've done in the past or things that I'm currently doing. So I think if you follow these key steps, or guidelines, if you will, obviously there's variables to each situation, but kind of try to follow these best you can, and you will set yourself up in 20, 30 years once you retire to have a solid cushion and a very powerful financial portfolio. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, we'll see you.